Hi everyone, you are now listening to the first episode of Grapholistic Podcast, the podcast that is based on developing personality and character, enhancing your character strengths with the use of science of handwriting analysis. Let me introduce myself first. I am S.Sulianah, and you can call me S.Sulianah. I am the founder, Graphologist, which is also another word for handwriting analyst, and personality development coach of Grapholistic International. Thank you for selecting this track and making your first step in listening to this podcast. Before I tell you my objective of creating this podcast, I would like to tell you first why I started my company, Grapholistic International. Grapholistic comes from the word graphology, which is another term used as handwriting analysis. And the word holistic is that our character consists of not only our external, which is our physical looks or health, but also the internal aspect of us, which are our character, how we portray ourselves, how we treat ourselves, and the motivation that path our own journey. The intention is to use the science of handwriting analysis to learn about oneself, which means, firstly, is to be self-aware and then go on to the next steps, whichever you take. On the other hand, my purpose of producing this podcast is to share with you the importance of our character and practical actions based on a true story, which could help you to build a constructive personality for yourself, eventually leading you to stay healthy, happy, and motivated to walk into that life journey of yours. This podcast has the same objective as why I created my company. Everything that will be shared here are very practical, which means that it has been done. And since it works well, I thought, why not share it with a larger audience? So I started these steps since I was at the age of 15. That was like 23 years ago. Whatever I will be sharing in this podcast are based on true story, which is coming from mine, interviews I had with individuals I met, readings, and then I test it myself. Apart from on-site research, which includes corporate and personal settings. I am looking forward that after you listen to this podcast, you will be more self-aware of what you want in life and eventually bring something of value to yourself, the society, and the community. Okay, I am starting with firstly building self-esteem. So building, enhancing, and be on observation of this first trait. So this first season will only cover about self-esteem. Second season will be on the areas of communication. That is more like developing effective listening skills, communicating, conversational, and writing development. Which, from what I realize, is another essential trait that one should have after self-esteem. In this first episode, we will talk about why do we need to build a healthy self-esteem. Why is healthy self-esteem so important? Self-esteem is the perception you have towards yourself, and mine towards my personal self. It has nothing to do about what others perceive of us, how they perceive us, or how they think about us. It is about how you look at yourself, your self-worth, and how you appreciate what you have and what you don't. So now you may ask, does that mean we should not care about what others think of us? Alright, this question will make a comeback in phase 5 of the journey to building self-esteem, which will be around on the 9th episode. So this perspective will be explained and explored in detail what others perceive us and how we are and how we can handle it. By the way, spoiler alert, when you are at phase 5 of this journey, you will not be worried about the answer to this question. I have constructed this journey to build your self-esteem into 5 phases in which everything will be covered throughout season 1 of this podcast. So, let us begin. What are these phases? So these 5 phases actually comprise of firstly, that thick as in TICK, alright? Self-awareness is that tick. Second is changing bad habits. Third, the people we are with. Fourth, start developing your traits. And fifth is learning how to build your self-defense. Okay, let us start with the first phase. That is self-awareness, okay? I like to call it that tick in your heart, that specific feeling, that feeling of realization. This is that some feeling and tick which is telling you that there is something you need to do, which is more than just being alive. It could be something telling you that there is more than just doing the routine work and activities you have been doing every day, every minute, and every second. That tick in your heart could also be a feeling that there is something lacking in yourself that you need to change or improve. You may tell me now that you do not have that feeling yet. And I am asking you again, are you sure? Because if you don't have it yet, you will not be listening to this podcast or any other similar podcast. You would rather do something else than spending your minutes listening to me sharing with you how to build your self-esteem and grow your personality. You will be listening to music while on your treadmill instead of listening to this podcast. So with that, congratulations. You are on your first phase of self-realization. Everyone will experience differently at this stage. Sensing something is off when you are relaxing at the beach, or sometimes while having a dinner with your friends. It all depends. I will share with you the first time that makes me feel that tick, that I want something more and different when I grew up was when I was in primary 6. That was when I was about 12 years old. The red flags were when my academic results were not good from primary 3 to middle of primary 6. I feel like I was so lazy and I always feel lethargic. You see, I was not at all motivated to even read or do anything, including school homework. So copying from my other classmates, especially from my handsome class monitor, was like very common practice for me. Sometimes I even copied during tests or exams. And the best part was I still fail. Some things, small things like this, even like wearing the school uniform, felt so uncomfortable for me. Then I hate going to school. I didn't like any of my friends, including my so-called best friend during that time. So every morning I will drag myself to wake up and go to school, even though it was like only a 4 minutes walk from home. I don't remember enjoying my time in school. So all this were like happening for nearly like 3 years until I was in primary 6, right after the PSLE preliminary exam. Just for your information, in my country, Singapore, PSLE stands for primary 6, primary school leaving examination. So we have to pass that to go to our next level, which is the secondary school phase. So we have to stay in the primary school for 6 years before taking this final exam. So out of those unpleasant and uncomfortable days, one day something ticked in me. There was this feeling of like fear and worry. Like no one, including my parents, made me feel that way. It just came automatically in me. I was the one who felt like that, like out of like nowhere. Suddenly, I was like so afraid that I will fail my final PSLE exam, and the consequences will be to repeat another year, you see. So if, for example, you fail this exam in primary 6, we will either have to stay back and go through primary 7, which is for me, no, I don't like that. So the thoughts of that, like especially being in the same place for another year, right, like change everything. That was when I decided to instantly change every bad habit I had immediately, which led us to phase 2. So phase 2 is changing the bad habits. I have watched a lot of speech and recently by someone who says that this is one of the most challenging behavior in a person to change. Not because of whether it is not easy to change, it is because whether we even realize that what we have been doing all this while is considered as bad habits. So the process during that time was very instant, that my friends, including my best friend, teased me in a sarcastic way that I had become an angelic person. So you see what I meant? So this is why I never enjoyed being with those people I was with during that period. Those bad habits, which I changed, were a lot, and thinking about it now, it was actually a very big step for me. what happened was that I started to do my homework, revise my schoolwork to prepare for the PSLE exam, read books and newspapers like my dad always had been training me to do, but this time I did it with my own will. I stopped finding excuses just to leave school early, and then I retrained myself from those classmates who were making me upset always by being with those who are more calm, more with a positive attitude and good behavior, and they respect others and they don't talk loudly and specifically never gossip. This step then led me to phase 3. So phase 3 is the people who you are with is very much so important. Remember the quote, to judge a person's character, look at his or her friends. So there is also a quote that says the person's success is shown by who they are with. Well, I tell you, this is not a joke. I have tried this in several stages in my life, and I am really grateful that I realized this when I was younger. While you are improving yourself, try to observe with an open mind, an open heart, the friends and the people you are with. You have to observe. And when I'm saying open, you have to really open. And you don't need to judge immediately when they do something. All right, just like be there. And you have to look at in a different aspect. And just keep quiet. I mean, like for me, I would just keep quiet. I will not tell the person or anything because this is not about them. We're talking about ourselves, all right? You have to observe the way they speak to others, the way they behave, and most importantly, when you genuinely would like to make your life better, learn to understand how your instinct works. That first instinct, when learning to understand someone else, is most of the time the most reliable information. Right, this phase is a bit tricky and a bit complicated, only if you don't let yourself have an open heart. Phase 4. Phase 4 is one of which you will start to build your personality in all aspects. This is the phase that is very concise and need a lot of your determination, courage, and focus. In this stage, it is a long-term process. You have to set it and let it be at the back of your mind. You have to let it sit throughout the years. This is the up and down phase where sometimes you will end up diverting into another course. I am really looking forward to share with you in detail of phase 4 because this is the practical side of you that you need to do and you need to trust yourself. This is when you also have to do things or the stages such as reading, setting goals, developing communication skills and all. The last stage is phase 5. So phase 5 is what I would like to name it as the ready armor to defend or protect ourselves. But of course, it doesn't mean that it is the completion of everything and completing this will make you that perfect person. These phases are a journey. Because remember, our objective here is not to be perfect. There's no such thing. So we are aiming to be a person who has a positive view about ourselves so that any shots people made towards us, we have our own armor that is firstly self-respect towards ourselves. This is the phase that you will also test yourself. What are the things people say to you will make you tick and how will you respond to it? All these phases, you will see it throughout your life, and since you now know more about yourself, you can use it as a guide in every stage of your journey. In practical, these phases can happen at one time, which will work together, meaning all at once, or it will work stage by stage, depending on what kind of lifestyle you have. And I cannot because your life is different from mine, and so are others. And all these phases will be explained in detail in all the upcoming episodes in season 1. And that is why building a healthy self-esteem is really important. And I am prioritizing it in this first season because before we head it to season 2, it is like answering your exam questions. You cannot skip this and answer the next question because it is really connected. And I can say that this is the basic and the foundation of your personality. Okay, let us remind ourselves why developing self-esteem is important here. Firstly, it is how we see ourselves, which is the most important, because even though one day you will be at the topmost position in your life, okay? If you do not appreciate your personal self, any of your talents and goals you have already achieved, I bet you will feel and you will think it has no value to you. You ask yourself right now, does that happen to you? The second point is a healthy self-esteem is connected to how we manage our emotions, how we think and decide, how we treat others, which includes strangers, including individuals serving you in restaurants, in public settings, your friends, your whoever around you, and eventually our actions whenever there are any criticism and comments. Point 2 is that a healthy self-esteem is connected to how we manage our emotions, how we think and decide, how we treat others, which means including strangers, including individuals serving you in restaurants, and eventually our actions whenever there are any criticisms and comments. The third point, having a healthy self-esteem will actually impact your short-term and long-term perspective of how you would like your life to be. So whether you are optimistic that you can achieve your goals, whether you are motivated to complete any daily achievements that you have set for yourself, all this plays a role. And of course, the reason you want to build a healthy self-esteem is to set your self-confidence at a healthy level in which you will need throughout your journey in life. So simple things that you will need your self-confidence is communicating with people, doing your exam, studying, investing in certain things like education, investing in certain stock or whatever. Strangers you will meet who will be your friends throughout the journey. Strangers who you will meet when you walk at the street. Self-confidence when you need to do a presentation for your science project in school and your internship. Even a small gesture of writing a sentence on your essay actually reflects your self-confidence. Point 6, during that journey, you will need to have the confidence to speak to people, socializing with friends and people you don't know, the way you speak, tone of voice, listening skills, and your responding skills. You have to have like all this. 7, and then all of this will be connected to how you pursue your dreams and make your imagination and plans into action. Because having it in your head and imagine it every day is a good practice, but not putting it into action will make you frustrated towards yourself, and then you will end up venting it to others in the process. Point 8. Once you manage to achieve the small goals and also the huge ones you set, you have to be grateful and appreciate those achievements. These are very important, because having a healthy self-esteem will make this journey enjoyable and not stressful. 9 is when at times the journey leads to any possibilities, such as you questioning yourself whether it is possible to do it or encounter with failures. How do you manage it? A person with low self-esteem will actually overcome this by giving up and be angry towards others, towards herself or himself, because she thinks that everyone has more than her. But if she has a healthy one, hardships are considered like a new challenge for her. And the optimism you have within you will also train you to learn to be self-aware towards yourself. Observe yourself in a way that is holistic. In terms of what type of person you are, learning to understand the things that you could or could not do, the types of things that you dislike and like, what makes you angry and what makes you frustrated towards others or yourself, and many others. Learning to understand yourself is actually a must so that you will not be lost when someone else pushes you into the gutter of what life they think you are supposed to be. Because you should know what you want for yourself and you should create your own path. Point 11, be prepared that you have to depend on yourself because you cannot depend on others. Remember this, people have their own lives to live and you cannot rely on them 100%. Alright guys, before you listen to the next episode of this podcast, do a short self-reflection. Ask yourself, why did you click the link on this podcast? Why are you reading certain types of books? What are you looking for now in your life? Write down the reasons and what you value most in your life, such as small things like Write down the reasons and what you value most in your life, such as your achievements, career, your family, even the small things. I suggest you to write this in your diary, or if you have any paper without lines, write on those types of papers, okay? Because it will be useful for the upcoming episodes when I will guide you how to read your handwriting and learn about your personality. When you have the answers to all those questions, you will be more motivated to follow this journey in building your self-esteem. And then you will realize how these phases that I'm sharing with you will contribute to your values, visions, and goals. Meanwhile, I will end this episode here. Thank you for listening. I will see you in episode 2. To watch this recorded podcast and any other videos related to this podcast, behind the scenes, or anything related to handwriting analysis, you can visit our YouTube channel or visit www.grapholistic.com, where all the links for these videos are in there. At the meantime, take good care of yourself. Goodbye.